Hi everyone, it's Debbie with Mystery Quilts Anonymous, and we are working on a sew along. If you'll remember, my kids and grandkids are gone and they usually live with us, and this is my therapy while they're gone, so we decided we would do it as a quilt along. You've already seen what it looks like. I've posted that on the Facebook group page for you to see what it looks like. So for today, we're going to start with clue 1. It is a little bit detailed, so I wanted to show you exactly how I did it. So on your cutting instructions, the first thing that I ask you to do is I ask you to cut your background. I write what it is so I don't get confused at all what my background, my medium 1 and my dark 2 are. So we're going to cut strips. You're going to cut your strips into squares. These are 10 1/4, and then you're going to cut on both diagonals for triangles. Okay, so this is my 10 1/4 inch square, and you can see I've cut corner to corner twice, and now I have 4 triangles. So I have you cut 4 of the large squares. That will give you 8 triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That will actually, that's wrong. That will actually give you 16 triangles, which is what you need. You need 16 triangles, so I will correct those. Right there should be 16, so I need to correct my cutting instructions. Okay, so then I tell you to cut 1 1/4 strips, but I've asked you to cut large. So I wanted to show you what I meant by large. All right, y'all know where the 1/4 inch mark is, and I'm working with backing fabric on this because I really like it. So this is like double or 2.5 times as wide as what you're going to be working with, so it's a bit tricky, but I know you can see the 1 1/4 line here. But if you can see, my black fabric is a couple threads past that. That's what I want you to do, is a couple threads past that 1 1/4 line. And here's my blue already cut, and if I lay it down, you can see that it goes over that 1/4 inch line as well. It saves us cutting on 16ths or 32nds or whatever. But I'll make sure it's lined up, and we're gonna cut that off. And I've already cut my other ones. So we're going to go to the machine and we're going to make strip sets that look like this. Okay, this is really simple. It's pretty easy. We're just going to stitch these together all along one side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stitch a ways down because this is 2.5 times wide, and I don't want to bore you with watching me stitch it up. I'll just sew a little bit ways down, and then we'll sew the other side on so you can see how I did that. Really simple. Just line them up, feed it through. Just do one more time that, and then I'll show you how to sew the other side on, and then a trick for how I ironed it. Let's just stop there. I'll give it a bit of a back stitch. Then simply opened it up and went again. I know that you're starting on the same end. If you want to rotate, you can do that, because a lot of times when you sew from the same end, you can get a little bow in your fabric. Oops, that's not cut too straight. stitch this one down as far as I did the other one, and then I'll show you the ironing trick. Just a little further. All right, let's go to the ironing board and I'll show you my little magic trick. Then I'm going to show you how to do the triangles. I think while we're here, I can also show you, sorry, I keep stepping on them. This is what we're actually going to accomplish right now. So we're going to get these and these. You notice they're complete opposites. One is on one side, one is on the other side of the triangle. I can't even lay them the same way. So they are completely opposites. So my little trick that I did with this, and it worked for me, I hope it works for you, is I just laid it upside down and I put my iron right in there. My iron is not hot. It will heat up though. And then I just held this up in the air and zoomed right down the center. And for some reason, it worked for me, and it will again, but my iron isn't hot, so just give it a second. I should have put my iron down. You can see it's going to flatten out really nicely. While we wait for the iron, it may be hot enough. Do it again, show you how I did it. And then I just flipped it over and finished it up. And it's beautiful. Okay, so now you should have, if you're using regular length fabric, you should have 4 sets of this now, because we cut 8 of these and 4 of those. So you should have 4 sets. So now I want to show you, let's come to the sewing machine. I want to show you how I did those triangles. Okay, so the first one is pretty straightforward. Okay, you're just gonna, you can do this either way. You can either start this way, whichever side you start on though. You know what, I'm just gonna tell you to start on this side. Okay, and we do 1 for this first go. So you're just going to match your straight edge and stitch right down the side. Okay, once you get to the end, we're going to go back to the cutting table. I know this is getting long, but you can stop and pause and go back. Okay, so we're going to be at here, and then we are going to just finger press that out. And we're going to lay this along the edge of our diamond, our triangle. We're going to leave this edge square, and we're going to just come down here, and we're going to trim that off. Okay, so now we have this angle. So instead of putting this angle to waste and starting again, we're going to use that angle. This time I want you to lay your triangle out so you can figure out which way it goes. Okay, so we're going to lay it just like that. So we're actually going to fold this one over on top. I know that it's hard to see, but you'll have a tiny triangle for your 1/4 inch seam allowance up there. And then we're going to stitch down here all the way down. This is where the magic comes in. Okay. When you get to the end, I want you to take your next triangle and I want you to lay it square right up against that next one. You can, I actually left a little bit in there so I could trim off. If I got it a little crooked or something, I could straighten it back out. Back to the cutting table one more time, and I will show you what we get from these. Okay, we know this one is already correct on the angle, so we're just going to trim off our little white corner there. And in between our two nice white triangles there, we are going to cut on the straight. And we've started on the straight again, so we are back to cutting our triangles. But we've now done the opposite triangle, leaving this end on the square, taking your long end of your triangle. Sorry, that's pulling in a funny way. We're going to trim that off. And now you can see we have one each way. And that's how I accomplished those units on the ironing board. Okay, now I want to show you. No, I want to show you the ironing board ones again. And since you have opposite ones now. All right, we have one way, 4 one way. You'll actually have 8 and 8. We're going to take 4 of those to make one square. Okay, so we're just going to lay them out right beside each other in a square. You'll notice that my blacks don't meet up. I want it that way. Okay, so here we are with these 4. Okay, now I ironed these one way, but I think I'm going to iron them the other way. I ironed them away from the white, but it's not laying really nicely, so I think I'm gonna rework that and iron them the other way. And you'll notice I can't lay this one the same. There's the triangle. It's opposite. Okay, so there's one. Let's work on this second one. You're using all the same. All 4 are the same. So we'll just do this exactly the same. And we have exactly the same block, except it's flipped. I want you to make note that it is not rotated. It is actually flipped. And so it's important that you make it each way. Okay, so to finish this up, I'll just quickly tell you how to finish it up. You're going to stitch here and here. And then these 2 halves are going to be together. So when you open it up, you can flip this over and you'll finish with a really nice block. I wanted to show you one that my little test block that I did in a different color. I wanted to show you that what it looks like when it's completely finished. Remember, these aren't my colors, but this is what it looks like when it's done. You should have a nice spinnable seam right in the corner to make your seams flatter right there in the center. And it should look like that and work perfectly, hopefully. Let me know how it goes. Have a great day, guys.